New at 4, out of this world wine. It hits the auction block. The private company Space Cargo Unlimited sent 12 bottles of French wine to the International Space Station, where they spent more than a year. One bottle originally sold for $10,000, but Christie's auction house estimates it will now go for, listen to this, an easy $1 million.
For a bottle of wine?
For a bottle of space wine. That is very select coverage there. The space wine comes with a second bottle of the same vintage, aged on Earth in a cellar. That way, if the buyer decides to open the space wine, they can compare the two, see if there's any difference, Rick.
It better be pretty good for $1 million a bottle.
Hard pass for me. All right, new at 4, your chance to live like Iron Man right here on Earth.
British Marines are literally flying into the future. They're using high-powered jetpacks to carry out their mission. CBS's Ian Lee has the story.
This could be the future of war, or at least the future of getting to the battlefield. British Royal Marines rocket to a ship in a jet suit.
So when you're assaulting a ship, coming from a ship to a beach, trying to get to a hilltop, trying to outflank an enemy position, all of those things suddenly become super fast without depending on a helicopter.
Gravity Industries developed the jet suit to go anywhere fast. It's got a top speed of 85 miles per hour and can fly for about 5 minutes. Inventor Richard Browning says that freedom of movement could save lives.
We can now move individual special forces soldiers in a very, very nimble way, where trying to counter that becomes a real challenge.
But it's not just special forces looking to become the next Iron Man. Paramedics have tried out the suit too, reaching patients in remote areas in record times. But the pandemic grounded plans for a mission across the pond.
We're hoping as the COVID challenges start to diminish, then we're back out to do a lot more with US forces, which would be great.
The former Royal Marine says even NASA has shown interest in the technology, proving the sky isn't necessarily the limit. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Tonight, an Atlanta police officer reinstated, a case reignited. The fallout after the officer fired for shooting RAYSHARD Brooks gets his job back.
Was that done to temporarily pacify the protesters and the people around the world that were upset?
A chilling call for help.
I've been shot, I need help. What happened? I need help now.
A delivery driver shot on the job. And now the customer who placed the order opens up to CBS 46. Georgia lagging behind on vaccinations. How close are we to true herd immunity? And a tragic crash sends a baby over the edge.
Our heart dropped and, you just go right into a different mode.
The Good Samaritans who dove into action.
That incredible story coming up. But first at 5, the policeman who fatally shot RAYSHARD Brooks is back on the job. The Atlanta Civil Service Board reversing the firing of Officer Garrett Rolfe.
RAYSHARD Brooks was shot and killed last June in the parking lot of an Atlanta Wendy's. Dash cam and body camera video showed that what Brooks appeared to be cooperative as police questioned him in the drive-thru. Eventually, officers tried to arrest him, and during a struggle, Brooks grabbed a stun gun, fired it at officers, and that's when he was shot by Rolfe. The shooting prompted weeks of violent protest, and that Wendy's was burned to the ground.
CBS 46's Adam Murphy is live in Atlanta following this story for us tonight. And Adam, Officer Rolfe is back on the job, but he's not out on the streets, right?
That's correct, Rick. Due to the fact that he still has outstanding charges against him, including murder, that are pending in this case, he will automatically be placed on administrative leave and may receive some back pay. Now, this is where the shooting happened almost a year ago, right here off University Avenue, where RAYSHARD Brooks was killed at a Wendy's restaurant that once stood here. Nearly 1 year after the deadly shooting of RAYSHARD Brooks captured the attention of the world, the officer charged with his killing is back on the job.
Right now, Officer Rolfe has received more justice than the family of RAYSHARD Brooks.
Attorneys for the Brooks family blasted Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and the police department for failing to follow protocol when firing Officer Garrett Rolfe last June.
I do not believe that this was a justified use of deadly force and have called for the immediate termination of the officer.
But we find it mind-boggling that our elected officials and the former chief weren't aware of the proper procedure to fire an officer. So now it is questions of, was that done to temporarily pacify the protesters and the people around the world that were upset?
2 weeks ago, Officer Rolfe appealed the city's decision to fire him, arguing that he used deadly force within the scope and course of his duties in response to Brooks' violent, unlawful, aggressive resistance to a lawful arrest. On Tuesday, the Atlanta Civil Service Board reinstated Rolfe. The mayor responded, saying, quote, "Given the volatile state of our city and nation last summer, the decision to terminate this officer after he fatally shot Mr. Brooks in the back was the right thing to do."
It is sad for the family because they know that the person who killed their loved one is out on the street. There's been no adjudication of his guilt, and he's there working still. I think he's going to receive back pay, and their loved one's still gone, and they have no resolution.
And back live here at the scene of where this fatal shooting happened, the Wendy's was demolished after protesters burned it to the ground. A fence surrounds the property today, and all is quiet in this area for now, but we have learned of a protest this hour outside City Hall. We're going to monitor that, and we'll have more on this developing story next hour. Live in Atlanta, Adam Murphy, CBS 46 News.
And Adam, we do want to go to that protest. It's breaking news right now. Live pictures from Chopper 46 of a small protest. We are getting those images for you. Again, this is in response to Officer Garrett Rolfe getting his job back. In the meantime, let's go to CBS 46's Zach Summers. Zach, you were outside that protest. Zach, can you hear us? Zach, can you hear us?
Yeah, you know, the protest. Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are we good? Okay, yeah, you see about 24 demonstrators out here on the steps of City Hall telling me, you know, this decision by the City Services Board is a kick in the face. The Justice for Georgia group is leading this protester. I talked to the co-founder, Brittany Jones. She said when she learned of the decision to reinstate former officer Garrett Rolfe, she was disturbed, disgusted with it, because the fear is that if this officer can be reinstated, that the charges that he's facing for the murder of RAYSHARD Brooks could be possibly dropped. This group wanting to put pressure on Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms to appeal this decision by the City Services Board. They plan to be out here for the next hour or so. We'll stay with them and bring you the latest. For now, live in downtown, Zach Summers, CBS 46 News.
All right, Zach, thank you. A small but vocal crowd. Lots of neighborhoods are in cleanup mode tonight after 2 days of severe storms sweeping across the metro. Chopper 46 giving us a new look at the damage, and you really can see it from this bird's eye view. This is a neighborhood in Sandy Springs hit hard by the storms. CBS 46's Tori Cooper live in that area tonight. And Tori, I know you spoke with a family. They have a home that they have lived in for 50 years that they now have to rebuild.
Yeah, Rick, Eloise Mills allowed me to come inside her home just so that we could show our viewers the magnitude and how powerful these trees are. Take a look. The tree is still inside what used to be the family's dining room. They just had Easter there, and they were reminiscing on some of those memories. You can still see the family piano now covered in debris. We're going to take you over here so you can also see what used to be their living room. There's insulation here on the ground. It's all wet because there's this gaping hole in the roof where Eloise tells us all of the water came in, but the family tells us they're going to do everything they can to save this home. As the sky cleared.
It was bad. I live a mile from here, didn't get anything.
Daybreak shed light on the destruction in Sandy Springs.
We hear stuff hit the deck. Look over, our neighbor's got a tree on his roof, and we end up getting two on ours. Our other neighbors have some collapse in their yard.
This tree was on my house, this big tree, and that big tree there, and there's still more. There were several trees that fell.
In 1969, Eloise Mills built this home from the ground up with her husband.
And there's a hole, a hole in the ceiling, where it rained in all night.
It's been her sanctuary for more than 50 years and the place where she raised her two sons.
That's the living room. And
her son walking us through what used to be their living room.
We just had Easter there.
You just had Easter there?
Yeah, we had Easter dinner there.
Where memories were created and never forgotten.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
Now a mangled mess with a gaping hole inside. The home itself, a piece of family and community history.
Originally on the site was a prison. They took the stonework that was here to create the stairs. So yes, so from the was from the original structure.
Now covered in sheetrock and debris.
Well, you got a crack and then it's collapsing right here.
Her neighbor's garage also bashed in by the ravaging tornado that left thousands without power for several hours. It's since been restored, but the journey of repairs still far from over.
We just appreciate all our neighbors, help and effort, and just counting our blessings. Glad we're safe.
Now, no one was injured here in Sandy Springs, but as we just showed you in the story, this is the staircase that is the original from the prison, and the restoration group tells us this is the reason, this historical value right here, why it's going to take so long for them to rebuild this home, but they're going to do everything they can to save it. Reporting live in Sandy Springs, I'm Tori Cooper, CBS 46 News.
Tori, thank you. Your heart just goes out to those families dealing with storm damage. Let's take a live look outside over downtown Atlanta. Really a beautiful day. We will not see any rain for a couple of days. Give us some time to dry out. Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez. How long will we be dry, Jennifer?
We're going to be dry for several days. We have a tiny chance of rain tomorrow night into Friday. Most of this will happen when you're sleeping, and we're talking about very low rainfall totals, but really it's not until next week, starting on Monday, that the rain returns. Outside right now, the sun, I almost forgot what it looked like, but it's out there. The sun is back, and we'll continue to see decreasing clouds tonight, and that will allow temperatures to drop. Right now it's 76 degrees. That's 10 degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. You remember this time yesterday? Yeah, how can you forget? Pouring down rain at this hour. So much better out there. That great weather will continue as we head through tonight. Clear skies this evening, even a little bit cool, maybe a little chill in the air. Depends on how cold-natured you are, but we will be in the mid-50s by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Then by the afternoon, low 70s, lower humidity, just really mostly sunny and nice. And that muggy meter, we start talking about it now that we approach the summer months. It's going to stay low, so much lower humidity as we head through the rest of tonight into Thursday and Friday. That muggy meter is back to humid and sticky and thick. That does happen as that rain arrives. We'll talk much more about the timing of the rain and what it means for your Mother's Day weekend coming up.
Jennifer, thanks. We'll see you in a bit. In just the last hour, Governor Kemp signing new legislation making it legal to take cocktails home from your favorite restaurant.
CBS 46's Haley Mason is live along the Atlanta Beltline, where people are celebrating this news tonight. Haley.
Rick, they certainly are, and what a day for this bill signing to happen on Cinco de Mayo, or here on the Atlanta Beltline. So many restaurants are gearing up for their happy hours as more people move back into the dining scene in Georgia. The idea of taking your favorite mixed drink home has people here saying cheers. Customers along the Atlanta Beltline are raising a glass to a new menu item coming to restaurants across the state, cocktails to go.
First of all, it's finally something good coming out of the pandemic, and it's a special day. It's Cinco de Mayo.
Governor Brian Kemp signing a bill into law today allowing mixed drinks to be carried home with a to-go entree order.
I like to go get cocktails, and if I want to get some food to go, I'm going to feel real good about being able to take my specialty cocktail home, because we can't make specialty cocktails at home unless you're going to be on Google and trying to get 1 million ingredients. But yeah, I think it's a great.
The drinks can have up to 3 ounces of alcohol, but must be packaged with no openings for a straw. They also have to be stowed in your vehicle's trunk or glove box until you get home. The bill was drafted to help support struggling restaurants in the pandemic. Mixologist Edwards says as long as proper safeguards are in place, he'll toast to this change.
But this way, I think it keeps restaurants afloat, because they lose a lot of money, because you still are doing the social distancing, six feet. I know some people are going back to 100%, but it does help keep the money coming in for the restaurant itself.
And Georgia already allows beer and wine to go home with you as long as it's unopened, but the cocktails we're learning will take effect on July 1st. Reporting at the Atlanta Beltline, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.
Thanks, Haley. Straight ahead, a disturbing trend is on the rise. Another delivery driver shot on the job. Still ahead, the chilling 911 call as he tries to get to safety.
Plus, a major industry unable to keep up with demand. The massive shortage that's now costing new homeowners tens of thousands of dollars.
It's fine, yeah.
And a contractor taking on the project of a lifetime. Meet the Lawrenceville man who was supposed to clean some air ducts, but ended up delivering a baby.
Thanks for making CBS 46 the fastest growing news in Atlanta.
Now at 5, get ready for more sticker shock. It's no longer just toilet paper and cleaning supplies along with appliances.
Yeah, now the cost of lumber is skyrocketing, up 300% in just the last year. To put that into perspective, the National Association of Home Builders estimates a new single-family home will now cost $24,000 more this year than last. CBS 46's Rob Hughes crunched the numbers for us.
I am looking to head your way tomorrow.
Business at Kennesaw's Peach State Lumber has been busy. They sell to cabinet makers, finishing carpenters, and custom woodworkers.
Hey, Phil, how are you doing?
But the bottom line has changed dramatically during the pandemic.
Very, very low on poplar right now.
Experts say it's a combination of rising lumber prices and dwindling supply. That means price hikes for builders and contractors, as well as do-it-yourself homeowners like you and me.
It's not just the lumber, but it's also the plywood, the wood glue, and the screws. It's pretty much everything they're using. The plywood has seen drastic increases.
In fact, the price of a sheet of plywood has gone from about $8 to somewhere in the $30 range. That ends up costing big for businesses like Complete Stair.
I've been in the industry for almost 40 years. I've never seen it this way.
The Georgia-based company makes stairs for everything from starter homes to custom-built mansions, turning out more than 1,000 staircases a month. Those rising costs add up.
I'm hearing that it's almost double the price to frame the house. $20,000, $15,000 to $20,000 for a starter home gets hit right on top. And that's just a lumber package.
While building and construction was considered an essential industry and never completely shut down, new demand from home improvement projects, western wildfires, heavy rain in logging areas, and the Texas freeze created a perfect storm, disrupting the lumber supply chain.
Go ahead and do it. Let's get it while we get it before we run out, right?
So if you're planning a DIY project or remodeling, maybe building a new home, here's some sound advice.
Try to get all the material for the project when you can get it. Don't wait and try to split it up over weeks or months, because there has been quite a few of them that have been caught in a situation where we had it 1 week, now we're out for a month.
Or you might take the opposite approach.
Wait. Don't buy now.
Rob Hughes, CBS 46 News.